Welcome everybody to the Rogers Center, where the Blue Jays and Texas Rangers get set for Game 2 of this 3-game set. Just a glorious day. And for those Texas Rangers, after losing last night's opener to the Blue Jays, Ron Washington, the skip, will line them up. Yeah, let's go ahead and go otherwise to Jose Bautista in the batting cage earlier today, and it looked awfully good.
Yeah, it sure did. He was able to take all his swings, and what they were trying to do was replicate what it would be like to take a normal batting practice, where you get your swings, you sit down for a little bit, you get attention from George Poulos, the trainer, get that thing taped up and feeling good. He's going to go through those very same paces tomorrow, and it's fully expected that by Monday he'll go down to Florida with the Blue Jays Gulf Coast League affiliate, get some at-bats there, and then get a couple of games in with the Dunedin Blue Jays in the Florida State League before hopefully returning to the lineup somewhere next weekend, anticipated to be in Baltimore. But based on those signs, especially the old fist pump there from manager John Farrell, all things look to be on the up and up for Jose Bautista, and what a boost in the arm he would be to this Toronto Blue Jays lineup.
Carlos Villanueva and company will take the field now, getting set for this second game. And Carlos Villanueva has gone 3 consecutive starts without a win. The starting lineup this afternoon for Ron Washington's Texas Rangers looks something like this. Ian Kinsler at the top spot. He's the second baseman, 13 home runs on his year. You'll catch a theme here. Michael Young will be at shortstop defensively, not a place he plays much anymore. Josh Hamilton, 34 big home runs. He's in left field. At third base, Adrian Beltre, maybe a guy who was the MVP on this ball club this year, 19 home runs. He's driven in 68 and plays a great third. The DH is Nelson Cruz. He's driven in 70. David Murphy gets the start in right field, and he's played very well, hitting .303. Mitch Moreland doing a nice job, 12 bombs on the year. He's at first base. Guy that runs very well in center, Craig Gentry, and also swinging the bat well, Luis Martinez, the youngster, gets the nod behind the plate.
Carlos Villanueva gets the call, and the big picture numbers combined between the bullpen and his starting role look like this: 6-2 with a 3.12 ERA. But he has been absolutely brilliant since being inserted into that Blue Jays rotation back on the 29th of June. This will be his 9th start, and since going into the rotation, 4-2, coming off a very impressive outing Monday night against the Chicago White Sox, an economical 84 pitches in which he went 7 innings and tied a season high with 8 strikeouts. Villanueva, a master of preparation, and we'll see if all that work last night in preparing for this Texas Rangers lineup works for him this afternoon.
And that most recent start you mentioned, Sam, led to a win for the Blue Jays, not a win for Villanueva personally. Carlos has gone 3 straight starts without picking up a win after going 6-0 on the early part of the season.
He will throw to Jeff Mathis here today, and the rest of the defense for the Blue Jays looks like this. Echeverria and Cooper will play the corners. Escobar and Kelly Johnson will handle the duties up the middle. Outfield from left to right, Rajay Davis. Colby Rasmus back in there and patrolling center field, and Anthony Gose with that good arm will start in right field. Danny Echeverria makes his 9th start at third base, and through his time there has handled 29 total chances, making just 1 error, and making an adjustment very nicely. Quite thank you very much, due to the fact that in the minor leagues really only played short and second.
So Ian Kinsler leads it off for these Texas Rangers. Numbers are a bit down this year for Ian, hitting .267. Plenty of pop, and he's likely at any time to drive a baseball. Also one of those guys that when he gets on base will run quite well.
Real typical American lineup thrown out there by Ron Washington. Everyone's got thump 1 through 9 in the order, and they all have the ability to get on base, move around, and do a lot of different things.
So Villanueva gets right out in front, 0-2. Carlos, in that last start against the White Sox, struck out 8 in 7 innings, and Carlos has been surprisingly striking out more than a man an inning on the season. Featured a very good curveball and slider for the strikeouts last time out. See how Carlos brings on this 0-2 fastball, and lined right back to Villanueva, and a pretty suave move for the out.
That thing came back at him faster than he threw it in there, that's for sure. Now time for the Scouting Report, brought to you by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners. Thanks to Bloomberg Sports, we look at a fastball thrown 42% of the time. The change is his next best pitch at 24%. So Carlos Villanueva likes to mix and match and change speeds. He's not a guy with great velocity, although the velocity was shown right back at him here on a hard hit ball by Ian Kinsler.
A lot of guys won't handle that one, won't even touch it, or may even fall into the path of that line shot. Michael Young stands in.
You don't want to get into that handcuff situation where you take it off the wrist. So Villanueva had it drop right into that glove.
Michael Young takes the changeup right on the outside edge, and that's an effective pitch for Carlos. Yeah, we got some of the guys back traded this summer, apparently.
Got a deal on those shirts.
Fastball finds the corner. Villanueva sharp as he embarks on this afternoon.
Always like a pitcher who works quickly. I think it keeps the defense into the game, and it keeps that cadence going and that camaraderie between pitcher and catcher.
Slider, did he go through? Yes, he did. Home plate umpire making the call himself, it appeared. So Michael Young down on strikes. First one for Villanueva on the afternoon.
And you get to see the whole repertoire from Villanueva in that pitch swing sequence. Here's the breaking ball. Young can't handle it. A good job by Mathis to get down, get his chest on it, calmly get out there and make a good throw down to first base to complete the strikeout.
So Michael Young finds out why Carlos Villanueva has been striking out so many this year. Again, a bit surprising with a guy like Carlos, not overpowering with the fastball, but then we saw Jay Happ last night. Fastballs at 90, 91, occasionally 92, blown right on by the hitters.
Take you back to when these two faced each other earlier in the season. The ballpark at Arlington on the 25th of May. Change it from Villanueva, and that's taken way out, and I mean way out, into the second deck, the upper tank. Villanueva not the only one to fall victim to Josh Hamilton, who's had a resurgence, if you will, after a bit of a 2-month downspout. An amazing start to the season. Goes downhill a little bit, has some personal issues that he was dealing with, and here in August has started to pump it right back up again.
Hamilton had 9 home runs in the month of April, 12 more in May, but then just 4 in June and July. 0-2 pitch, foul down the left side. So Carlos continues to pump strikes, utilizing, you could see the curveball. He's had the slider, the changeup, spotting fastballs well. Hamilton, after really cooling down, as Sam talks about, has heated up now in the last 10 games. Has that batting average up to 290. Here in August, hitting .308 after a 177 July. Carlos just misses away.
Very similar to a lot of pitches we saw from Jay Happ in last night's game, elevating the fastball late in the count, where Happ had that late life and induced a lot of swings and misses. Not the case on that pitch for Villanueva.
Carlos with the 1-2. Breaking ball, grounded foul.
Josh Hamilton set to become a free agent at season's end, and with all the numbers he's put up over the last few years, although there is some personal issues that would make some people cautious about signing him, he's set to make a lot of money and for a long time. An unbelievable talent, Josh Hamilton.
When you look at the home run numbers and the RBIs, it's undeniable, but long stretches of that bat being completely inactive.
It's funny, Ron Washington addressed that about his entire club this morning in his meeting with the media and said, yes, we're leading in on-base percentage, yes, we're leading in average, yes, we're leading in runs scored, but this is an offense that hasn't quite put it together consistently enough. He sure is hoping that that time will come, and the Texas Rangers looking to make their 3rd straight appearance in the Fall Classic.
Carlos misses down and away, a little run on that changeup. Texas still leading, as you say, in runs scored, but just 2 runs in front of now the New York Yankees, who have played 1 more game than the Rangers. Texas has pretty much been in that top spot throughout the season.
Oh man, and even dating back to last season, 268 out of 270 days.
Curveball just getting a piece as Hamilton as he fouls it.
Going back to the 16th of May last year, the Texas Rangers have been in first place in the National League West for 268 of 270 days. I mean, that is dominance.
Talked about the Blue Jays and their power game this year, still 2nd in home runs. Yankees lead in that category. So that's not where the Rangers lead, but they still added up to lead in runs scored. 3-2, breaking ball hit in the air to center. Rasmus back in center field now and drifting all the way back to the wall. As he hits the wall, makes the catch. Drifting all the way, and that probably tells you the wind is going to have some impact on fly balls here this afternoon. Now Colby Rasmus able to get it done. We're scoreless after a half an inning. first inning. That lineup has Rajay Davis in the top spot, and what a job he's been doing. A doubles machine of late, and still running. Just a stolen base back in the leadership in the league. Colby Rasmus in center field. That's good to see with his 20 home runs. Edwin Encarnacion slammed number 31 last night. David Cooper had the 5-game hitting streak removed in last night's outing. Yunel Escobar's at shortstop. Kelly Johnson at second. Jeff Mathis behind the plate. In right field, the speed of Anthony Gose and Danny Echeverria, the youngster, at third base.
The ultimate in irony is Roy Oswalt gets the start in place of Ryan Dempster, who apparently had some passport issues. It was Dempster's acquisition from the Chicago Cubs that pushed Oswalt into the bullpen, here making his 7th start of the season since signing with the Texas Rangers back on the 29th of May.
So Oswalt with his first pitch of the afternoon. He's had 9 days of rest and should be strong. A guy who once upon a time was mid-90s and even above in terms of his fastball velocity and great location. He starts it at the knees. Back-to-back fastballs to start things. And Davis down in the count 0-2. Oswalt 4-2 on the year.
Absolutely dominant in his tenure with the Houston Astros, and then midway through 2010 was a deadline acquisition to try and aid that Philadelphia Phillies rotation. Had some issues last year with Philadelphia, but still ended up with a subpar year compared to what we saw from Oswalt pitching in the National League. And he weighed a few offers, waited around, and it wasn't until the 29th of May when he signed with Texas.
There's that slow curveball. He'll drop that thing sometimes down to 65+ miles an hour. So Oswalt gets his first man.
Roy Oswalt working for the first time today with catcher Louis Martinez, who is making just his 2nd start of the season after being called up when Mike Napoli went on the DL. Adrian Beltre and Mitch Moreland are the corner infielders. Michael Young moves to shortstop. Kinsler's his double play partner. And you look at Michael Young. Started his career with the Blue Jays as a second baseman, was bumped to shortstop by Ian Kinsler, then bumped all over the rest of the infield. Just a 2nd start at short today.
Colby Rasmus first pitch swinging, grounds one on a couple of big hops to first base as he's down.
When you look at Roy Oswalt, it's the changeup that really developed in his minor league career, something that has really helped him along. Still a 46% of the time fastball guy, as most pitchers are, but then he works the curve in after the changeup, has a sinker and slider. 5 different pitches can be featured by Oswalt, but he also has the ability to change arm angles and kind of add to that repertoire depending on situation.
Sam, you mentioned Oswalt with the Phillies back in 2010 as Edwin stands in. 7-1 as he aided the Phillies toward their postseason run that season. But then, like you say, the following season it wasn't the same. 9-10 in a Philly uni. Edwin has a good rip. A ball and a strike. We mentioned it numerous times. Encarnacion back in the lineup last night, slamming home run number 31, a 2-run shot, and that came in the first inning. And as it turned out, it stood throughout the evening. Oswalt pumping that fastball down at the bottom of the knees area.
It's been amazing to watch Encarnacion because he's dealt with a heel issue going back for the last month. We've seen previously in his Blue Jays tenure deal with hand and wrist injuries, yet still you never hear him complain. He goes out there and now takes the brunt of the offensive load away from everyone else when he's in the lineup.
There's the changeup, and you could see the reaction of Encarnacion. That is so classic of what it feels like. If you can get on the other end there and you're completely aware of the fastball a pitcher has, you dial everything to that speed, and suddenly the arm comes at that speed, but the baseball doesn't. 2-2, and again the changeup.
Good late run on that changeup does Oswalt, and you mentioned it with that 9-day layoff. You figured he'd come out fresh with the ability to work all his pitches and maybe with a little more velocity than what we're used to seeing from Oswalt.
Hit on the ground is short. Right to Michael Young. He'll make the play onto first base, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 first inning for the Blue Jays. So settle in. As we played an inning, we are scoreless here at the Rogers Center.
The Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware and building center location. Homeowners helping homeowners.
We're playing baseball here in Toronto. Josh Hamilton has had a little sleight of hand pulled against him by Colby Rasmus.
How about this ball? It bounces off the wall. The timing is unbelievable. And that's why Rasmus gives you the reaction he does. He looks up because he realized he didn't catch it on the straight into the glove. He looked up and said, oh my gosh, I can't believe I caught this thing off the wall.
Now, that was a terrific job by Colby. I don't know what he would say. He'd probably just smile at you and say, I had no clue that was going to happen.
And then you'd give him the video evidence and you'd get some kind of smart remark for sure.
Cleanup man Adrian Beltre at the plate sees the count quickly at 0-2. Josh Hamilton, wonder if he's gotten word in the dugout yet. Maybe somebody's seeing the TV up in the clubhouse.
Yeah, you don't know if Texas broadcast got the same look that we did, but there was somebody watching.
Try to come up on that 0-2 fastball.
Isn't that something? I mean, that is sleight of hand. It's interesting to watch as Rasmus went back on that ball. He was really drifting, and it gives you an indication just how much that ball is carrying out to center field between the gaps.
Carlos with the fastball on the 3-2 hit in the air to center field. We'll see how much this one forces Rasmus back. He's shy of the warning track, and the first out here in the second. And we talked about what a glorious day it is here in Toronto. Tough day for outfielders and infielders, and you see the glasses being worn and much needed.
A little different than in the day that you played. They used to have the old flip-ups in those days, and then the Oakley started to become popular into the early 90s, and the old flip-up glasses went by the wayside.
A lot of times these glasses worn today are just simply on the top of the hat anyway, and keep you looking mighty good. Nelson Cruz stands in. First pitch swinging, grounds it foul.
Nelson Cruz, the topic of discussion this morning with Ron Washington, DHing today. And the one thing Ron Washington really pays attention to is, you know, you play in all that heat in Texas and then you come and play on an artificial surface, which rarely happens for Texas. He likes to try and give his guys either days off or half days off while here in Toronto.
There's the changeup, dribbled on the first base side, handled by Villanueva, and the easy underhand toss, and 2 quick outs here in the second inning as 5 in a row have been retired by Carlos. Now the Blue Jays head out on the road trip following tomorrow's game. Monday's an off day, and then 9 days on the road. When they come back, the Tampa Bay Rays will be in town. A long weekend series, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Make your plans to join us right here at the Rogers Center by calling 416-341-1234. You can do it online at BlueJays.com as well as most Rogers Plus locations.
Rays really starting to heat things up and put some pressure now, a little bit of pressure on the New York Yankees. That pitching staff has been dialed right in for Joe Madden, and with the return and the resurgence of Evan Longoria has really helped the offense along.
David Price just continues to excel in that rotation. But James Shields seemed to find his game again as the Blue Jays came through Tampa Bay. And it's kind of what the Rays do when the Blue Jays come to town. I believe it's 16 consecutive series now lost there by the Blue Jays.
Yeah, isn't that one of those weird statistical anomalies that it gets to the point where you start looking beyond the stats and say, hey, what's gone on here?
Yeah, you lose 5 or 6 consecutive series against a team in one ballpark, and it feels like you got the whammy on you a little bit, but 16. Change up fouled.
That's something else. Murphy's been a really nice addition for this Texas Rangers ball club. He was picked up in 2007 in a trade with the Boston Red Sox and has become that prototypical fourth outfielder, a guy that will play over 100 games a year. He can pinch hit, he can pinch run, he plays all 3 outfield spots. Huge value.
Hits one in the air, foul down the left side. Count stays at 2-2.
And has typically been one of those second half guys. I mean, going down the stretch last year as Texas was moving into the playoffs, this guy started 29 to 30 games due to some various ailments throughout this Texas Rangers lineup, and you didn't notice a beat while he was the starter.
It's hit .309 lifetime against the Blue Jays. Just holds the bat back on the little cut slider inside. He has never homered against the Blue Jays, but in 44 previous games, 14 doubles, 7 runs driven in. Villanueva brings the 3-2. Change-up, and it's hit on the ground weakly to second base. Kelly Johnson has that play in a 1-2-3 second inning. So Carlos Villanueva is on his game through 2 innings as we're scoreless. Every time Toronto hits a home run, you can win big audio home theater systems and big TVs like an 80-inch Sharp Aquos Quatron. To enter, visit hitahomer.sharp.ca. To the bottom of the second inning we go. David Cooper leads it off. And by the way, that is hit a home run with Sharp.ca. Pitch hit in the air to left field. Moving toward left center is Josh Hamilton. That's the first out here in the second.
And again, you see a little bit of that carry as Hamilton moves from, well, to his left in the outfield into the gap and is able to chase down that soft liner from David Cooper.
We have not had a base runner here this afternoon. Yunel Escobar will try to take care of that.
Roy Oswalt will be closely monitored on a 75 pitch count here today because of that 9-day layoff, because his last 3 appearances have been out of that Texas bullpen.
Looking strong, though, as he starts out 92 pretty consistently with the fastball, keeping it down. When I'd see him run into problems while he was with the Astros, he'd come up with his fastball again at the knees as he gets in front 0-2. But this is a 2-time 20-game winner. He's also won 19 in the season. So he's a guy with some very good numbers behind him.
Back-to-back in 04-05 with those 20-win seasons. And the 05 season was the Houston Astros making it all the way to the World Series, losing to the Chicago White Sox. Oswalt, a big part of that, was the NLCS MVP that year for Houston.
Blue Jays had a tough series with the St. Louis Cardinals, and it was Oswalt who really came through. Fastball perfectly placed. If you're a pitcher, that's exactly where you want to put it on the 0-2.
Over the course of his career, I mean, Oswalt has been absolutely brilliant, but a huge run from 2000 to 2010. And look at what he's done in the National League. Yes, the numbers are extremely good, which is where he was at his best. But since pitching in the American League, be it interleague or now with the Texas Rangers, the numbers have come back down to life a little bit.
I think some of that may be due to the fact that he had gotten a bit older at that time. If American League clubs had seen him early on, they might have had some of the same struggles National League teams did. 2 outs here in the inning. Kelly Johnson has the count now quickly at 0-2. So both pitchers, Villanueva and Oswalt, throwing a ton of strikes.
You have to wonder if that's why there was trepidation in signing him and why he waited till the end of May before he ended up picking the Texas Rangers.
Curveball grounded foul.
Interesting story with Oswalt, going back to 1999, playing an A-ball, experiencing shoulder soreness, goes to change the spark plugs on his truck, ends up getting shocked, falls down and comes back and says, hey, guess what? No more arm pain. It was one of those telling moments in his career, and then went on into 2000 pitching in the minor leagues and Double-A, working with Mike Maddox, the now pitching coach with the Texas Rangers. Nolan Ryan owned that Double-A club, and that's why there's some familiarity with Oswalt.
1-2 got him swinging. So Johnson down on strikes. Second here on the afternoon for Roy Oswalt. 2 pitchers blowing and breezing through these first 2 innings. There's that fastball right over the bat of Kelly Johnson. Where is Jose Bautista? And I think right here in the world, if you were looking, Jose Bautista has arrived. Batting practice earlier in the day. It went very well. Swung the bat extremely well, hit the ball sharply, and he'll do it again tomorrow and get ready for a minor league stint before joining the Blue Jays, hopefully in Baltimore come Friday night. It has been 12 up, 12 down. Carlos Villanueva has gotten 6 of those, so he faces the bottom 3 in the order here in the 3rd inning. Mitch Moreland stands in. Moreland now settling in as that everyday first baseman for these Rangers, doing a very nice job. Fouls back the 1-0.
Predominantly a pull hitter, but not exactly with the shift where you have 3 infielders on that right side. What they have done is just shifted Yunel Escobar, shaded off of second base. They pulled Echeverria way off at third base and have tempted Moreland to hit into that shift.
There's the curveball, and there's the game's first base hit, first base runner, as Moreland lines one sharply into right field.
Go figure, you do all that work to shift against Moreland, who has been traditionally a pull hitter for Texas and still is able to pull it between that hole that saw first baseman David Cooper and second baseman Kelly Johnson spaced fairly closely together, but a good piece of hitting by Moreland nonetheless, and the game's first hit.
Ted Williams, as legend goes, was one of the first guys that shifts were used on, and he didn't worry about it. He just went hit it hard, as Moreland did right here, and took his chances, and the chances worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and you've seen so much of that enter the game because of the technology, because of the video scouting, because of all the charting you have all that information available to you. I think Joe Madden was the guy who really started that paradigm shift into moving defenses around to adjust and reflect what they saw on the charts.
Pitch hit sharply to third, knocked down by Echeverria. He'll get one at second base. That's all they'll get. Nice play by Echeverria. He's got terrific reactions, great hands, despite the fact that he simply knocks this one down, and then a good strong throwing arm to back it all up.
I loved it that he showed no panic. This ball was hit extremely hard. Echeverria goes to the backhand. You think here a young player might panic. No, he's got it in his mind that he wants to get that lead runner at second base. Simply gets up and makes a good strong throw over to Johnson covering the bag.
So Moreland erased 5-4, 1 out for the catcher, 9-hitter Luis Martinez. Gentry runs very well at first base. Martinez still looking for that first major league hit. Comes in 0 for 3, just in his third major league game.
Picked up in an offseason trade with the San Diego Padres, and good thing, because with Mike Napoli going down, Yorvit Torrealba was let go, and all of a sudden Texas was in a spot where they needed a catcher. Martinez gets his chance.
Villanueva obviously aware of the speed of Craig Gentry. Gentry on the season has stolen 11, caught 5 times. From that slide step, and that has shut the running game down for Carlos this year. He's done a great job. Last year, he was susceptible to the running game quite a bit. 11 of 11 against him, but this year, teams have been unable to even send runners.
You have to wonder if that wasn't part of his preparation going into the offseason last year with the starts that he made and then going on a DL, wanting to lengthen himself out to be prepared to start this year. Controlling the running game, a big part of that.
This year, Villanueva has seen just 6 stolen bases against him. 3 have been caught. Gentry just getting the toes of that right foot to the carpet. And there he goes. Pitch out, the throw down, and they'll get him. So Jeff Mathis, who is such a good throwing catcher, throws out Martinez, or rather throws out Craig Gentry. That's the second out of the inning, and the pitch out comes in perfectly.
Sure does. Well called here by John Farrell and the staff. You see Gentry's got that right arm waving. Off he goes. The pitch out executed perfectly. Villanueva down to Johnson at second base to record the out.
And even with that throw from Mathis a bit on the first base side and up, it didn't matter at all. Give that infielder the chance. Changeup, dribble towards shortstop. Escobar will come on, throw on the run and get him. So the Rangers go down. They get the base hit, the first of the afternoon for either team, but with the caught stealing, just 3 come to the plate. Carlos Villanueva continues to roll. Will be hosting the Texas Rangers. That's tomorrow, of course, a 1:07 start. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Ricky Romero bobblehead. Ricky's bobblehead is the third of the 3 bobbleheads in this year's collectible set. Others include Brandon Morrow and Yunel Escobar. Make your plans to join us by calling 416-341-1234. You can do it online, quick and easy at BlueJays.com.
Still a pretty good collectible, the old bobblehead. Got a few of them at home myself.
You got yourself a spot in line for the Ricky Romero bobblehead. Ground ball to second base. To his right to make the play is Kinsler, and the first out here in the inning.
Yeah, we can create a little space in the old mantle for that one.
So 7 up, 7 down for the Blue Jays here against Roy Oswalt. Texas Rangers getting the one hit. Mitch Moreland, he was then forced out. Craig Gentry reaching on the back end and then trying to steal, thrown out by Jeff Mathis. So just 9 hitters for Texas, just 7 for the Blue Jays. As that speed, the guy we talked about up top, Anthony Gose, stands in.
Talked about a strange bit of irony in that Roy Oswalt was filling in for Ryan Dempster, who essentially bumped him out of the rotation when he was acquired from Chicago. But you look at these two players, Anthony Gose for the Blue Jays, Roy Oswalt for the Texas Rangers. You go back to July 29, 2010. They were traded for one another. Jay Happ also part of that deal, going from Philadelphia along with Gose to Houston. Another minor league player involved going back the other way, Roy Oswalt.
You guys are saying it gets so complicated. So there's the first base runner for the Blue Jays, and the Jays probably are quite happy it's Anthony Gose.
Yeah, because we talked about it off the top of the broadcast. First base for Rajai Davis, for Anthony Gose, it's like a pit stop. You get refueled, you get some instructions, you wave goodbye to it on the way to second base. Very rarely is a single part of the lexicon or a walk part of the lexicon for Rajai Davis and Anthony Gose.
Yeah, I love that pit stop analogy you had. It's really nice with these guys. Oswalt has quick feet and works in with that slide step to the plate, and that's probably the #1 way in my mind to shut down running games. You can throw over to first all you want if you don't have much of a move. Even if you do, and you might get a guy flinching a bit, but if you're slow to the plate, he's going to take off.
Martinez well catching in AAA for Texas Rangers, threw out roughly 20% of the runners that were trying to steal. So percentages may be in the favor here for Gose.
Look at that lead. And there he goes. Pitch inside. Tough pitch to throw on, but a pretty good throw, and not in time. Anthony Gose, that weapon you can't teach.
You know it's going to happen. Everyone in the ballpark knows that this guy is just going to make his pit stop at first base. A really aggressive lead, flinches once, and then off he goes with that pitch away from the strike zone. Even harder for Martinez to try and throw him out. This pitch up and in, Echeverria having to get out of the way. And the one thing that concerns me about both Davis and Gose is the fact that they tend to almost overslide the base with that head first slide.
9-hitter Adeiny Echeverria at the plate. 2-1 the count, and I completely agree. I would love to see both guys turn that into a hard slide into the bag. Get that lead leg in and go ahead and pop up if you want. Spin move. Yeah, and see, this is the move. They're going to call a balk.
Yeah.
No spin towards second base, but a lot of pitchers will do the same thing. They'll just raise that lead leg and step anywhere they happen to choose to. In this case, Oswalt landed, it appeared, on the home plate side of the rubber.
Ultimately, what you're looking for in a balk, the #1 thing, never mind all the rules, but are you deceiving the runner?
Well, for me, that move is all about deception. There's just no way around it. And now Gose at third. Pitch hit through the left side. There's your first Blue Jays hit. First run of the afternoon. And first RBI for Adeiny Echeverria. So a lot of firsts involved there. And Adeiny Echeverria, who's been swinging it better than the numbers would indicate, comes through against Oswalt.
And there's that speed kills theme coming to the fore again for the Toronto Blue Jays. Gose steals second base, and with that speed, Oswalt had to be aware of him even while at second base. He commits the balk, moves to third, and then Echeverria simply punches it through the left side, and that's an easy trot home for Anthony Gose to give the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead.
At some point, if you're hitting the ball, you're going to find some holes, and finally it seems to come about for Echeverria. And now Moreland's going to go to the mound, maybe reminding that Echeverria may not be the biggest base runner, base stealer on the club. Either that or he just needed some rosin on that left hand. Which is fouled off the right side. Each club with a hit. Blue Jays with the only run of the game. All the ball players get that baseball for their first major league hit. Did you notice if Echeverria got the ball for the first RBI?
I didn't notice. It's one you definitely want to keep.
Strike at the knees. Rajay struck out back in the first inning. Davis watches the 0-2 pitch way outside.
Good job by Martinez to slide out and make that trap on the pitch by Oswalt. It's funny how things slow down once base runners get on. Oswalt was just wheeling and dealing away until Ghost was able to reach on the walk, and then things have slowed considerably since.
So Rajay down on strikes, second time on the afternoon, and the fourth strikeout for Oswalt. Hey fans, every time Toronto hits a home run in the fourth inning, a lucky winner will take home a Sharp home theater system, including audio soundbar, Blu-ray player, and Aquas LCD TV. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Sharp, big is too small a word for it. Rasmus grounds one to second. This will do it for the Blue Jays in the third, but they get on the board as they get the scoring started here on the afternoon. A run on one hit, and they leave a man. And Adeiny Echeverria, that first Major League RBI. Good. Strong against the Texas Rangers. Had this fastball 90 to 92 miles an hour that he was just blowing by hitters all evening long. At one point struck out 6 in a row and picked up a win in his first what you call really impressive outing for the ball club.
Yeah, and that's just it. The first few innings came out of the bullpen, and then he moved into the starting rotation and really felt comfortable getting back into that groove, getting back into that routine. And here's what each of the managers had to say about that performance. You got to tip your hat to him. It was one of our pitchers. I'd be raving, said Ron Washington. And the first 3 innings of that game for Happ last night, about as good as you're going to see anywhere, according to John Farrell.
That's 2 managers pretty much raving right there. And John Farrell has to be the happy one as he has Jay Happ in the fold, and a guy that now looks like he's going to be a part of this rotation.
I've referred to this rotation as the American Idol rotation for the Blue Jays. It seems as if every day someone's auditioning for a spot.
Here's a drive to left field. Rajay is right there. Come in a few steps and make the catch. First out here in the 4th inning. Yeah, so make sure and get your votes in, fans.
You look at the injuries and you look at the guys coming back, Morrow in particular, by next week, and where does Jay Happ figure into the plans? I think when the acquisition was made from Houston, there's no doubt that at some point he was not only going to be in the rotation this year, but someone they could look to as a controllable arm to be in that rotation for the future.
Pitching's been a problem much of the year. Injuries at the heart and center of that for the Blue Jays. Michael Young stands in. He struck out in the first inning. Villanueva with just that 1 strikeout. Hit right to third. Echeverria's there. He's got the answer for that one. Second out quickly here in the 4th inning.
I really like Villanueva attacking the zone, inducing a lot of early contact, inducing a lot of swings that aren't timed properly because of his ability to change speeds and move the ball around. And Mike Young falls victim once again. Villanueva looking sharp here in the early going.
Look, you can, as a team offensively, say we're going to work counts all day long. Teams tried to do it against Halliday. After about 2 innings, they said, there's no point in this. We're behind 0-1 and 0-2 every time we go to the plate, so let's go ahead and swing the bats, and that's what Villanueva is forcing right here.
Take our chances early in the count as opposed to trying to fight back from behind.
Hamilton flied to center field in the first inning, or did he?
Colby Rasmus got him. It was a ball that actually bounced off the wall and ended up right in Rasmus's glove, to his absolute surprise.
So Villanueva has not been falling behind, but does so here with Hamilton 2-0.
Always a precarious position when you have the kind of thunder that this Texas Rangers lineup has to start falling behind, and we have not seen it much here from Villanueva in this game.
Well spotted, but off the outside edge. 3-0. Isn't it funny? You look at the Texas Rangers and all the power, balanced power they seem to have through the order, and you think, well, they must have more home runs than the Blue Jays, but not at all. There's a changeup on the 3-0, and that tells you about the respect Villanueva has.
And I think you can attribute that to a couple of guys. I mean, Mike Young with just 3 home runs, he's usually a guy in that 15 to 20 range. Nelson Cruz coming off a big year last year, just 18 home runs this year. So a couple of guys down in that lineup in terms of home run production.
And now it goes filled. So we've had a changeup and a curveball on the 3-0, 3-1 counts. And now the fastball is actually good. As a hitter, you're aware that the guy is willing to throw off speed, so you get away from that fastball a bit. Villanueva trying to make it a 1-2-3-4 inning.
Tried to go with that fastball there after a couple of shakes, maybe to put it in the mind of Hamilton that he was going to go back to a breaking ball. Instead, Mathis moves to the outside part of the plate, and Villanueva tried to get him on the fastball.
And back to that thing we were talking about, Sam. Blue Jays and their home runs. Yeah, they've got Edwin with 31. Jose Bautista, who hasn't played in a month, with 27. Ball popped up shallow toward right field, actually all the way mid-depth, and goes battling that sun. The glass is gleaming, and in the end he makes the play, and that's the key. You've got to stick with it, and Anthony Ghost does, as Hamilton flies out for a second time on the afternoon. There's the sun, and it's tough on the outfielders. Carlos isn't sure right away, but it's 1-0 Blue Jays. For one on the afternoon. Edwin with home run number 31 last night. 82 huge RBIs now, and that first pitch drills him off speed to 69 miles an hour, and so Edwin will take it.
Clearly no intent there. Encarnacion looking very comfortable up there. Takes it off of that left elbow. Spins away from it. No worse for the wear.
Curveball that just simply gets away, and that's the one that you start getting in the 60s in terms of velocity from Oswalt, and he'll drop it down. I've seen him drop it to 65 or even lower. So Edwin at first base after the hit batter. Brings up David Cooper. Coop fly to left field in the second inning. And now another balk.
Yeah.
Apparently Oswalt not stopping. And actually in the first or second inning, I guess it had to be the third inning when the Blue Jays finally got a base runner. I had that same feeling that the veteran was not stopping.
It's really bizarre because here he is. He doesn't stop. He just comes up and keeps wheeling and dealing.
For years, though, that spot at the letters has kind of been the stop point for Oswalt. Usually a veteran, once he establishes something, gets the call from there on out.
Jason Fraser has fallen victim to that when he was pitching for the Blue Jays earlier this year, of course, on the DL, along with 12 other Blue Jays.
Henderson Alvarez, who pitches tomorrow, got caught for too quick a feet recently. Cooper gets jammed. 0-2 the count.
A little more sticky on the balk calls this year than I can ever remember in the past.
It's such a subjective call, and managers can't argue it or they get thrown out of the game, just like with balls and strikes. So umpires pretty much have a free opportunity to call those balks. Curveball, and for some reason Cooper thought this was too close to take, and I don't know how he got a piece.
Almost took it out of the glove of Martinez. He was so tardy in the swing.
Blue Jays with the only run on the afternoon, a third inning singleton. Anthony Gose walked, stole a bag, balked over, and singled home by Echeverria. Oswalt with 4 strikeouts. Historically a very tough right-hander. Fastball line, but right at third base. And right there is Beltre to make the play. Though such is the nature of this game. You can soft hit him for hits and you can line him for outs.
And perfectly positioned as well. Look how far off the bag Beltre is and has it curl right into his glove. Quickly aware, checks the runner at second, but nothing doing there.
Love to know your impressions on David Cooper to this point and what you've seen.
Yeah, really, really interested. I thought he was going to be one of those guys who would be a perfect trade piece. Because I looked at Encarnacion, I looked at Adam Lind and maybe sharing some first base duties there. Cooper's had some success in the minor leagues, and I figured he might be a guy that would be packaged in a deal at the trade deadline. But you know, Alan, he's played well. I just don't know if he has the power to be a first baseman. And I look at a guy like Casey Kotchman is kind of the guy I would compare him to. Good at first base. Always will have a job, but maybe will never have the job where you're going to see him hit 30 home runs a year at the big league level.
Cooper with 4 home runs on the season. 3 of those, intriguingly, have come opposite field. The other one to right center field in Oakland. The 0-2 pitch taken low and kicks away from the catcher Martinez, but not getting a good break at second base. Encarnacion, as he has to stay there.
And when you hear about the opposite field home runs and hitting, you know, one out of Oakland, which is a spacious park, you think that maybe that power just needs to be unlocked a little bit. I'm not sure it's going to be there on a consistent enough basis or on a large enough basis to allow him to be, you know, an American League first baseman.
And now Oswalt trying to hook it up on the signs with Martinez, the catcher. Again, Martinez just in his 3rd game with the Texas Rangers. Escobar keeps battling.
Now, having said that, you can live with a first baseman with less power if you surround him with guys that have power. You know, if he's going to play decent first base and be good defensively, if you have guys like Bautista and Encarnacion and some thump throughout the rest of the lineup, you might be able to be a little void of power in that area.
Just getting a piece again. Escobar stays at 1-2. Well, we mentioned the Blue Jays are 2nd in the American League in home runs, trailing only the Yankees, and the Yankees having a great year with that long ball. But Encarnacion, Bautista, and Rasmus all 20 or above. Of course, Encarnacion at 33. No telling where Bautista would be with that last month out in the lineup. Foul back again. Is it enough power? Aaron Sevius 16. Kelly Johnson 14. You got Brett Laurie, who I think projects to probably hitting 15, 20 or more. But still, you'd like to have that power at first base.
Especially in the American League East. I mean, you look around and there's thumpers everywhere. I mean, Adrian Gonzalez or Mark Teixeira. Carlos Pena, although his average isn't very good, was known as a dangerous guy with a lot of thump in Tampa. Mark Reynolds has played some first base in Baltimore, and you know, this division with the offense needed in order to survive, first base is usually a position to help provide that.
Kind of evens at 2-2. Blue Jays with that third inning run, the only run of the ball game. Fun to watch Anthony Gose make things happen. A walk, a stolen base, a balk, and scores on the base hit by Echeverria. Don't need the long ball all the time when you can do that. Here's a drive to right field. Coming on Murphy now. He'll make the catch. Encarnacion tags and bluffs as the throw comes back in. Good throwing arm by David Murphy in right field.
It's really odd how on some days when the roof is open here at the Rogers Center that you'll see the ball carried between the gaps, but down the lines it doesn't carry quite the same. And so Murphy was a little fooled originally before having to come in and make that catch. Just a beautiful day here at the Rogers Center.
Well, we saw that first inning fly ball by Josh Hamilton, and he's got such spectacular and unusual power, it's hard to get a read. Did the wind push that ball, or did he just hit it enough, even though it looked like kind of a routine fly ball?
Yeah, with a little extra topspin, maybe that helped push Rasmus back towards the wall.
I'm told it was the seams and or wings that led that ball to hit the wall.
I heard that conversation last night.
Well, I'm not going to force theories down people's throats. Just a theory.
All right.
Encarnacion in scoring position. 2-0 the count on Kelly Johnson as Jeff Mathis waits on deck. Change up from Oswalt misses, so 3-0. Roy Oswalt charged with 2 balks already here on the afternoon. And the changeup outside. So Kelly draws the walk. Runners at first and second for Mathis.
You know, it's amazing through the first 7 hitters of this game to face Roy Oswalt. It looked as if the Blue Jays were going to be overmatched on the day, and then Gose draws the walk and he disrupts everything. He's able to steal the base, draw the balk because of his great speed, and Oswalt paying attention to him at second base. He ends up at third and is driven home rather easily by Echeverria, and then things just have not quite been the same for Oswalt. He comes out and hits Encarnacion to start the bottom of the fourth, and now he walks Johnson with 2 outs.
Couple of walks and a hit batter. Mathis takes it inside. Go back to the first year when Oswalt showed up on the big league scene with the Astros, 2001. He walked just 24 batters in 141 innings. It was a pure strike throw. Which has popped up as there's room on the right side by the dugout. And this one's going to land back of that first base dugout.
Good story in introducing the changeup to his repertoire back in 2000, playing in Double-A. Mike Maddox was the pitching coach there. And they said, hey, listen, it's a mandate by this Houston organization to throw 20% changeups. So he came out in the game in Double-A, and through the first 10 pitches were changeups. And Maddox came out to the mound and said, hey, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm trying to get my changeups out of the way so I can go back to pitching.
1-1. Mathis offers on a pitch outside. Well, he had a good changeup when he showed up with the Astros. He just didn't use it a whole lot because he had such an overpowering fastball.
And his ability to locate it.
Yes. Well, Mathis down on strikes. That'll do it for the Blue Jays in the 4th inning. No hits for the Blue Jays, but they leave a pair with the hit batter and the walk. And now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell in the Blackberry broadcast studio. of TD Canada. The TD Comfort Zone, courtesy of TD.
Fantastic seat. Great place to watch the ball game. Great place to broadcast from. Done a few games sitting down there.
Where's your favorite seat here at the Rogers Center?
It'd be right there.
Yeah.
But you got to be heads up, that's for sure.
Bring your glove.
Or a mask, one or the other.
I think I saw you guys down there with a big old glove one time.
Yeah.
Cleanup man Adrian Beltre leads it off for the Rangers here in the 5th inning. 1-0 Blue Jays. RBI single Adeiny Echeverria. Carlos Villanueva continues to throw strikes as he starts things here in the 5th inning. Beltre fly to center field in the 2nd. Beltre 19 homers on his year.
Amazing third baseman, and you look at Mike Young, and here's another guy that when he was brought to Texas bumped Young out of position. So Michael Young has played all 4 infield positions this season, making just his 2nd start at short today.
Change hit in the air to right center field. That's going to push Ghost back again. Those glasses gleaming. He can't see the baseball. And there's your ground rule double. And Colby Rasmus was not there. And I don't know if you could say the groin of Colby Rasmus factors in. He says he's 100%. But you can certainly say that Anthony Ghost couldn't pick up the baseball in that sun.
Well, here's what happens, Alan. I think Rasmus is jogging over because early on it looks as if Ghost has conviction. And then when he sets up shop, it's not until he sets up shop that he throws his hands in the air. And Villanueva's saying, oh, man, someone's got to do something there. Rasmus thinking all the way that Ghost had a beat on it. And he looked convicted while running over there. And it wasn't until he got settled and looked back up and lost the ball. By that time, it was too late for Rasmus to get over there. I'm not sure he would have made it all the way over to catch that ball.
Here's a drive to left field. Rajay back, watching at the wall. It's gone. And instead of a solo home run for Nelson Cruz, he hits a 2-run shot because of a double with a ball lost in the sun in right center field. 2-1 Rangers lead. And you have to ask yourself, does the fact that the double lands because the ball's lost in the sun change anything for Carlos Villanueva as he approaches Nelson Cruz?
I don't think there's any question. I think he's completely rattled, and I think it takes his attention off the task at hand. And here he comes and hangs a pitch there that is not a problem for Cruz to drive out of the park, give him 19 home runs on the year. And isn't just that the way it goes sometimes?
Another ball hit in the air. David Murphy hits it to center. This time Colby Rasmus will make the catch. And the first out here in the inning. Now, there's just no way you can sit back and say, well, had that first fly ball been caught, there would have absolutely been a home run by Nelson Cruz. I think some dynamic has to change.
Oh, there's no question. And things are going along so swimmingly, so well for Villanueva. And you saw his reaction when we showed him after that ball dropped, kind of throw his head back in the air and saying, oh, man. And I think momentarily it just took his attention off the task at hand. And that was facing Nelson Cruz. Cruz made him pay.
72 RBIs now for Nelson Cruz. Mitch Moreland, the left-hand hitting first baseman, stands in. Moreland had the game's first hit, came leading off the 3rd inning. And another strike, inside edge. Villanueva very sharp. I don't think you can fault Anthony Ghost. He tried to make the play, simply lost it. You'd love to have the help of another outfielder on the play. Well, there's the strikeout on that filthy looking curveball from Villanueva.
And it's funny how the home run makes you go back to what made you so successful earlier in the game. And here with Moreland at the plate, Villanueva locked in, gets it underneath the hands, and is able to strike out Moreland.
By the way, that was a perfect blocking position there by Jeff Mathis. You drop the glove all the way to the ground. It brings the upper body over with it a little bit, and you settle both knees down, setting up perfectly.
Really good signing by the Blue Jays to get him signed for 2 years with a 3rd-year option. Mathis well liked throughout the staff, handles the staff extremely well, and many think, and I know you're one of them, that there's still some potential offensively to unlock.
Yeah, I think any organization would agree that Jeff Mathis makes the ideal backup catcher, that guy that plays on occasions when you have need. You see at times that player, and it's happened with Jeff, will get exposed a little bit with the bat when he starts playing every day. But even when that's the case, has a lot of pop. He'll come up with that occasional long ball, the double to drive in some runs, and plays great D.
Reminds me a lot of Greg Zahn, where Zahny bounced around a little bit and then came to the Blue Jays, and a couple of injuries to Kevin Cash and to Greg Myers thwart him into a starting spot, and ended up making a pretty good run with the Blue Jays before bouncing around right at the end of his career.
Just outside with the slider. Zahny was such a grinder, and he became a better player late in his career. Switch hitter. That helped in a lot of regards. But boy, would he battle behind the plate.
Huge competitor. He's like that on the BlackBerry broadcast studio as well.
Take you down occasionally. Pop up on the right side. Kelly Johnson now battling the sun, using the glove, and he'll make the catch. And somehow the guys are going to have to find that that's the way you do it. Create a little bit of an angle and use the glove. Here's the fly ball that turned into a double, leading off Adrian Beltre and led to a 2-run home run. So the Rangers take advantage on that missed fly ball in the sun and lead it 2-1. Involved in a couple of plays with that sun in right field. Handled one Josh Hamilton hit to end the 4th inning. But then this one, leading off the 5th inning, turns into quite a bit of a trouble, and it creates problems for Villanueva. And now a base hitter's Ghost leads off here in the 5th inning. So Anthony Ghost has reached twice on the afternoon. Back in the 3rd inning with a walk, stole a base, balked over and scored the Blue Jays' only run of the game. And now Roy Oswalt has to deal with that speed of Anthony Ghost.
Here's the thing that Ghost has to continue to do. Think about going up the middle and going the other way. Simply hit to the left side on the ground. He's going to have a chance to beat it out. And on occasion, you'll be able to sneak it through, as he did there, right back up the box. And you know this isn't going to be a single for long.
Echeverria with a bunt, and a good one on the left side. Only played at first base for Beltre. A sacrifice for Echeverria. And safely into second base is Anthony Ghost. I have my feelings on this particular play. When you've got Anthony Ghost and that speed along with Rajay Davis at first base, why bunt? Why not take a pitch or two and let them run, steal the bag, and now swing the bat?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Or let him steal the bag and then maybe bunt him over to third base. And so now you have that runner at third base with less than 2 out.
So I'm not a huge fan of this particular play. And all of that said, understanding that Echeverria is a young kid and he's getting his feet on the ground and trying to learn to hit, and he's already driven in a run today with his first RBI with a base hit. But I just think it's one of those areas that I'd like to see him just back off and let the guys try to steal the bag.
Well, who knows? The way things have gone, maybe commit another balk, knowing that speed's on first base. It's already been called twice in this game. Yet Ghost, even still at second base, still a threat to steal third.
Yeah, that's the truth. There's no guarantee that Ghost is going to stop at second base, but they're going to try, the Rangers, with Kinsler near the bag, to cut down on the lead. Leadoff man Rajay Davis at the plate, trying to get this game even. He turns to bunt and pops it up, and that'll be handled by Beltre. And a second out in the inning, and each coming on bunts. And I don't know that that's giving yourself the best chance. I played for many a manager and coaches who, if you had a man in scoring position, would not be at all happy about a hitter bunting. And bunts are a little more difficult than I think the typical fan thinks, where, hey, you can just lay it down and get yourself a sack or a base hit. It doesn't work that way.
I think it works a little easier when you got a guy who comes strictly over the top and the ball's a little straighter, but when you have the kind of movement that Oswalt has, it does make it harder to do that. Davis found out there.
So that's the second out of the inning. Colby Rasmus 0 for 2 with groundouts. Now trying to tie things up or put the Blue Jays on top. 20 home runs on the year for Colby. Ron Washington coming out. Has Oswalt reached that point? 62 pitches for Roy. Left-hander warming up in the pen for Texas. It's Robbie Ross, and he's been summoned. So Roy Oswalt is done with his day, and there's not the look of a veteran pitcher who says, I agree with the decision.
Sure, there's 2 outs in the inning, and the opportunity to pick up a win is no longer for Roy Oswalt.
So Robbie comes on in from that bullpen in right field. 2-1, Rangers on top. We'll be right back. From the ball game, Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, goes over and talks to him. Oswalt, though, probably has good reason to feel upset right about now. 62 pitches and 1/3 of an inning away from being the pitcher of record in this ball game.
And that's just it. And 4 2/3 inning, Rasmus is just 2 for 14 over the course of this homestand, as Bautista has words with Edwin Encarnacion, who's on the on-deck circle. But this is a bit of a story brewing here with Ron Washington and Roy Oswalt.
Yeah, I don't think we're done with this conversation, Sam. We're going to get back to it. As we've got lefty versus lefty. 23-year-old left-hander Robbie Ross comes on the first pitch inside on Colby. You think there's any reason to believe that Ron Washington, because of the difficulties he had with Oswalt back in Kansas City, maybe said, well, look, I'm just not going to give you a chance to pick up the win here. Here's the 1-0, and that's up and in.
There's no doubt that factors in my mind. And to set the stage for you, Texas and LA played in a series that featured 92 hits, 70 some odd runs combined. They come out of that series, they go into Kansas City, they get into a long drawn out affair with Kansas City. Oswalt goes 2 innings in that game. Ron Washington says, hey, can I get a third out of you? Oswalt is reluctant to go out for that 3rd inning.
Colby checks his swing.
And as a result of that, it created a rift between the manager and the pitcher. A few days later, they claimed that they met man-to-man, face-to-face, and that they had cleared the air. Well, then you have Ryan Dempster all of a sudden forgets his passport or whatever it is, can't make the start. Washington goes to Oswalt to pick up this start, says, hey, you have 75 pitches, is pitching extremely well, gets to 4 2/3 and gets the hook pulled on him because of a lefty-lefty thing. I think the lefty-lefty thing is a convenience thing here.
It would seem so. Now, I'm sure that in the post-game press conference, Ron Washington is going to say that he felt like he saw maybe a little loss of stuff from Roy Oswalt as he got up into the 60s in pitches, and that lefty Colby Rasmus at the plate presented more of a challenge than Washington wanted to see, as the pitch now is popped up down the left field side. Shortstop, third baseman, left fielder, it's Beltre now, and makes a fine play. That was not easy. And that'll do it for the Blue Jays in the 5th inning. Adrian Beltre can play some kind of third base, and his teammates needed him right there. For the Blue Jays, they failed to score. Ron Washington is going to have that conversation right now with Oswalt, and I don't know if Roy's buying in. Numbers brought to you by the Aspire Travel World MasterCard from Capital One.
Set to become a free agent, Josh Hamilton. Why? Because of the great production. Here is his RBI per at bat over the last 5 seasons. Just every 5 times up, this guy's driving in a run.
We go to the 6th inning now, 2-1 Rangers, and it has been a bit tainted in terms of that offense for Texas. Roy Oswalt might feel like it's a bit tainted on that pitching side for the Rangers. Catcher Luis Martinez stands in as he grounded out to third base in the 3rd inning. I said he was looking for his first major league hit. He actually has 12 as he played with the Padres previously. He hits one on the ground to Kelly Johnson, and Johnson throws him out. First out here in the 6th inning.
Necessitated the calling up of Martinez because of Mike Napoli going on the disabled list.
Top of the order for the Rangers, Ian Kinsler. He's lined out back to the mound. A fine play by Villanueva in the 1st inning, and then flied to left. Speaking of Napoli, and you talk to some of the Rangers folks, they'll tell you last year that Mike Napoli, the last couple of months of the season, was as good offensively as anybody in all of the league.
Really didn't get that chance to flourish offensively playing with the LA Angels, but since moving to Texas has really honed that part of his game. And of course, anytime you play for Mike Scioscia, you know the defensive side of your game as a catcher is going to be in good shape. Just ask Jeff Mathis about that.
Napoli's had a bit of a down year this year offensively with the batting average, but still a lot of power. Jeff Mathis just continues to play solid defense and get that occasional big hit for the club. Kinsler takes a strike, and Villanueva out in front, 1-2. Well, we talk about things being maybe a bit tainted as the Rangers lead 2-1. A fly ball in the sun drops in right center field and leads to a 2-run home run hit by Nelson Cruz. Kinsler checks his swing and apparently able to hold it back.
Yeah, one of those tough breaks, and you saw Ghost have trouble with the Hamilton ball to end the 4th inning, and you thought that if that situation were to present itself again, it might be a bit of an issue, and it was for Ghost.
Swing and a miss by Kinsler, down on strikes. That's 3 for Carlos on the afternoon. Second out here in the 6th.
Villanueva, like most pitchers, creatures of habit. Good changeup. That downward sink into the right-handed bat of Kinsler.
So Villanueva has been spectacular, minus that fly ball double in the sun, and the next pitch hit for a home run by Nelson Cruz. Two-hitter Michael Young stands in. Young has picked up one of those 3 strikeouts on the afternoon picked up by Villanueva. Young not accustomed to hitting in the 260s, but that's where he stands at 269.
Bizarre to see that. An amazing player over the years, and really it was the Blue Jays who freed him. There was a logjam at second base in 2000, moving him in an Esteban Loaiza deal, and it's been all roses for Michael Young ever since.
Young now 35 years of age. It's a good changeup, and apparently just under the knees. Young's big league career started back in 2000, played in just a couple of games with these Texas Rangers. He's played his entire major league career with Texas. Changeup, and that's a strike.
Best of friends with Vernon Wells. The two of them came up in the Blue Jays minor league system together. Both a part of each other's weddings.
2,185 career hits for Michael Young. Fouls one first base side. He's had over 400 doubles, 55 triples. Don't know if he's going to get to 200 home runs. As you look at the numbers tailing off in that department right now, 172. But when you look at the overall figures, he's had a terrific career, a .302 lifetime hitter. Count goes full.
Presented with a couple of tough situations too. I mean, bumped all over the infield based on different acquisitions and player development scenarios for the Texas Rangers.
They remember Alex Rodriguez came to town. Michael Young had to make an adjustment. So the 2-out walk. Young reaches, and that brings up left-hand hitting Josh Hamilton. That bullpen presently quiet for the Blue Jays.
Villanueva up to 74 pitches now, and being a little cautious when he went on the DL last year in his 13 starts, went on the disabled list with some forearm tightness, and he's had to answer questions repeatedly since going back into the rotation on the 29th of June about that issue. Yet they don't want to say they're babying the Blue Jays, but they do pay attention, especially in game, more to his pitch count than maybe any other start.
Shift on for Hamilton. 3 infielders on the right side. Villanueva just throws it right on by. That changeup is floating through the zone.
Rather than pull Kelly Johnson way out of position, they move Echeverria from third base right into that shallow right field spot.
Let the young guy run. High heat, that snap throw from Mathis. He loves to throw to the bases. Hamilton 0 for 2 on the day, a couple of flyouts. Of course, one of those, sleight of hand by Colby Rasmus in the first inning, up against the wall in center field, drifting into the wall. And I think he got surprised as to how far the ball had gone. The ball actually hit the wall above the glove and then kicked conveniently right back into the leather.
Baseball gods having gone back and forth. That ball off the wall should have been a hit. Yeah. Then you get the ball in the sun that drops in, and then you give up the home run. So it's all over the map.
So it's a wash, you're saying?
Yeah, tie goes to the runner.
Okay. Young has only stolen 2 on the season, and with Hamilton at the plate, not overly likely to be running. Sixth inning, 2-1 Rangers. that hanging curveball, and sometimes the hanging curveball gets crushed. Sometimes it's just too deceptive for the hitters to get to.
Yeah, we saw the one thrown to Cruz earlier in the game get crushed back in the 5th inning. Give the Rangers this 2-1 lead.
Well, Villanueva pitch away from getting out of this 6th inning. And a big swing by Hamilton. He's got that one-handed swing, and I think a lot of times you lose sight of how fast the bat is traveling through the strike zone. When he gets it rolling, I'm not sure there's another guy in the game that can put up that steady kind of home run power that he can. Now, Adam Dunn, certainly a guy that's in that ballpark. Ryan Braun has been hot of late in the National League. Right off the end of the bat, taken by Escobar. He'll go to the bag at second for the force out, and that'll do it for the Rangers in the 6th inning. As they fail to score, they leave a walk aboard, and Carlos Villanueva continues to pitch very well with the Rangers on top. By authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Rangers on top 2-1. Just 5 hits on the afternoon. The Blue Jays have just 2 of those. Roy Oswalt started. Robbie Ross, the left-hander, came on and got 1 out in the 5th inning. And maybe to the dismay, and it would appear so, of Roy Oswalt. Encarnacion leads it off as the count quickly falls to 2-0. So, Sam, I'll get back to you. And I want to talk about the Oswalt Robbie Ross situation here as Encarnacion takes a strike. Ross, the left-hander, as Oswalt goes 4 2/3, he comes in to face Colby Rasmus, the left-handed bat. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2. So Ross gets a big out of a left-handed hitter, and I guess a manager can justify that. But the next hitter he's going to face while staying in the ballgame is Edwin Encarnacion.
Doesn't that add more intrigue to the story? But the story really, it doesn't end there. I mean, you talk about Colby Rasmus going into the game against Oswalt. He was 5 for 10. So there is some justification there for Ron Washington to remove Oswalt at that point. Having said that,
Edwin's down on strikes, so the argument I present is right out the window.
Well, no, but having said that, going into today's game, Colby Rasmus with just 2 for 14 and 0 for 2 in this game from 2 previous bats against Oswalt. And here's Ross. Good fastball there that Encarnacion swings right through. And so, as is always the case, there are 2 sides to every story, but you need to present all the facts. And yes, there has been a history in the recent past between manager and pitcher Roy Oswalt.
In life, even when we're presented with the other person's version of the story, we don't always agree, and I wonder if Roy Oswalt will ever agree with what he's been told by Ron Washington today.
No chance. No chance. I think a guy that's had the kind of success he has had, I don't think he'd ever agree.
So David Cooper, the left-hand hitter, attacks on the lefty. Robbie Ross falls victim to David Cooper, who has been very good against left-hand pitching. Fans enter the Hit a Home Run with Sharp contest on Facebook today. There are 5 ways to win this year, including a grand prize draw for Canada's largest LCD TV, a 90-inch Sharp Aquas. Join Sharp Canada on Facebook today. With a man aboard, Yunel Escobar stands in. David Cooper 1 for 3 on his day. It's been remarkable the way Cooper has handled left-hand pitching. Maybe better than right-handers. That's going to find the hole on the right side. So somewhat of a shift on for the Rangers. Bites him in the tail as this just routinely hit ground ball by Escobar shoots through the right side. 2 hits here in the inning, and now 4 on the afternoon for the Blue Jays.
And for Escobar, easily able to punch it through the right side. Good job by just taking this pitch the other way. And closely matched at first base was Cooper. You see Kinsler moving and ranging to his left, but not quick enough to get there as Escobar sneaks it through runners on first and second.
David Cooper represents the tying run at second base with 1 out here in the 6th inning. Kelly Johnson stands in. And Kelly fouls it left side. And of course, Cooper doesn't run well. Presents a problem, but it's been a problem, if you will, for the Blue Jays that I think they've been glad to accept because Cooper has swung it so well.
Yeah, and he's getting on base. He's playing well over at first. So you can't have everything. I mean, if you have the entire package, you're looking at one of those 5-tool guys who's a superstar in the league. But Cooper has acquitted himself quite well and has taken full advantage of the opportunity given to him with Adam Lind on the disabled list.
Well, I would argue your point. I would say that the Blue Jays, in having Jose Bautista last year, the first half, had everything and then some. Pitches foul left side. If you want to be particular, can you have everything? Not very often, but when you've got a Jose Bautista, even Edwin, the way he's played this year.
And you have that 5-tool guy who's a superstar, and Edwin's not quite at that status yet in my mind. He's on his way to being that. Bautista has established himself as that, and arguably one of the best players in the game today.
Johnson takes strike 3, so that's the 2nd out of the inning, 2nd strikeout, as it brings up catcher Jeff Mathis. Rangers have a right-hander loosening in their pen.
Not much of an argument here from Johnson, and a well-located fastball right at the knees. Get a look at where this pitch is. It just touches the black, and Johnson sent down.
It's funny about that five tools label. It gets laid on great players. Mathis takes outside. You have to be able to hit for average, hit for power, run, throw at the top of the game. I think Bautista certainly fits that. His speed is not going to be certainly an Anthony Gose, Rajai Davis type. Here's a line drive and knocked down at second base. Fine play by Kinsler. That's the 3rd hit of the inning, but David Cooper has to stop at third base. All because of this great diving play by Kinsler.
Great job by Kinsler to range over and take a run away from the Blue Jays. And also a heady play at third by Cooper. The first thing you're taught to do is to pick up the third base coach. And as Mathis goes up the middle, clearly most other days this is a hit. But because of where Kinsler was positioned up the middle anyways, he's able to dive and stop this ball. Look at Cooper with his head up. He's got a real good view of Brian Butterfield. And Butterfield immediately runs him back to the bag saying, hey, this thing didn't get through the infield. You better hold your spot at third.
Say, fans, keep watching with the bases loaded. We're a grand slam away from awarding an 80-inch Sharp Quatron Aquos LCD TV. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Sharp, big is too small a word for it. Mike Maddox has his Ward at the mound, bases loaded, and the Rangers on top by a run. It's a Rangers ball club that really hasn't been picking up as many wins, I think, as a lot of folks think. Since July 1st, the Rangers are 18-21, and yet because of that great start to the season, 15-4, they build up a big lead. They've had some spurts at times, but for a while now, they have been anything but dominant. Anthony Gose gets his shot with the bases juiced. He takes outside.
The other area in which Texas made hay is in interleague. Best record in the American League against the National League, 14-4. Also helped elevate them and keep them in that top spot in the American League West.
Big swing and a foul tip into the catcher's mitt. Gose has walked, stole a base, balked over, and scored on a base hit by Echeverria, that in the 3rd inning. He's also singled, shooting one on the ground back up the middle against Oswalt. Then was maybe strangely bunted over rather than being allowed to run. Good swing as he fouls it back.
And you have to think it's on Gose's mind that fly ball that dropped off the bat of Adrian Beltre that preceded the 2-run shot by Nelson Cruz is on his mind here. And as a young player, you want to try and maybe get it all back or try and pick up your teammate. And in this situation, you just have to worry about making some contact here. Gose with that good speed, even with the bases loaded, can still cause a little trouble.
Gets a piece, again fouls it back. But it would certainly be on my mind. I don't care if I was a rookie or not, but especially as a rookie.
You know, a veteran player is probably easier, better able to shake that off and still pay attention to the task at hand, as opposed to a young player who might say, okay, not only am I going to make up for that play, but I'm going to do even a little more than that.
The Blue Jays had just 2 hits on the afternoon until this inning. They put 3 up on the board here in the frame. And Anthony Gose trying to make something of those 3 hits. "21 years of age, Anthony Gose. Looks like he has all the tools in the world, and now Rangers having a tough time hooking it up.
Communication issues between Ross and Martinez, so Martinez will come out and then we'll get the sign settled.
23 games already played in by Anthony Gose prior to today. Time flies, doesn't it?
Sure does. You figure he might just be here for a short time, and then a couple of things happen to precipitate his remaining in the Blue Jays lineup.
Backs away and takes inside.
You have to find out at some time, though.
It's a good at bat right here against the left-hander. The 2-2 again fouled, and again that good at bat continues for Anthony Gose.
I couldn't agree more. Extending it, being disciplined, and in the case where you don't think you can do anything with it, just foul it off.
Sometimes those are the key pitches you'll get as a hitter. Eventually you get one to handle, but find a way to make some kind of contact to foul off the very tough ones. Ross with the 2-2. That's popped up down the left side. Room for Beltre. We'll see right at the railing. Leans in, and he does not have the room. Quite an effort by the Rangers' 3rd sacker.
Saw a play very similar with Kevin Youkilis earlier in his homestand, where he was able to go in and make that catch. But that extra row of seating here saves the at-bat for Anthony Gose.
David Cooper, Yunel Escobar, and Jeff Mathis all with hits in the inning. But a great diving stop by Ian Kinsler back of the bag at second base, preventing a run. Just up and in. So Gose works it filled now, and the runners will be in motion. Anthony Gose will see the 9th pitch here in this at bat. And the fans at the Rogers Center maybe sensing what Gose has done in this at bat, how he has battled. The 3-2. And again the battle goes on. The runners will wind it up and go back to their bases.
I'm not so sure 21 games ago you're getting this kind of a bat. This right here is a big league at bat by Anthony Gose.
Against the left-hander that's allowed a batting average against for left-hand hitters just in the 2 teens. Ross, a youngster as well. He brings the 3-2. Got him swinging. So in the end, the left-hander Robbie Ross wins out as Gose goes down on strikes. And 3 strikeouts in the inning for Robbie Ross, but he yields the 3 hits as the Blue Jays leave all 3 base runners. And again, you have to go back to that great play by Kinsler, but Robbie Ross brought to you by Spitz Seeds. Give it a crack. Spitz, the official sunflower seeds of the Toronto Blue Jays. Yeah, that's a pretty big crack of the bat. Big home run by Nelson Cruz, a 2-run job. Right on the heels of a lost fly ball in the sun, and that's the difference in the ballgame. 2-1 Texas.
A lone mistake in the game by Carlos Villanueva.
Pitch hit on the ground. That's a base hit for Beltre, his 2nd hit here on the afternoon. He's at first to lead it off, and that'll bring up Nelson Cruz.
You look at Carlos Villanueva, and the way he goes about his preparation is very, very meticulous. He says he will throw his side, and then the day before he pitches, he goes back through this notebook that he's compiled on all the hitters he's faced. And he'll go through it, he'll update it with some recent at-bats that he's seen or guys that are hot coming into the series, and then come up with his game plan along with Jeff Mathis and Bruce Walton, and then come out and try and execute. And for the most part today, he's been able to do that here into the 7th inning.
Jeff Mathis goes out, maybe to buy a little time. Right-hander and left-hander throwing in the pen for the Blue Jays. That right-hander is Chad Jenkins. And the lefty still trying to get used to faces and bodies here with this ball club with all the changes. Aaron Loup, who has been so good. So Villanueva set. Short lead by Beltre as Carlos misses apparently under the knees.
Some interest there in seeing Jenkins up.
Yeah.
In a spot that's very meaningful in this game. Normally he's kind of been put more towards the back of the bus, and John Farrell getting him in good positions where he can start an inning clean or be in a situation where score isn't quite as much of a factor as it is in this game.
This time Carlos gets the call, bottom of the knees, outside black.
Good sign for Jenkins. You want to at least get that flow going and get that excitement of coming in a very meaningful situation. Should that be the case?
Jenkins, just 24 years of age, has worked in just 4 games, but hasn't allowed a run in 5 2/3 innings. The 1-1 fouled off the right side. Blue Jays scored first. They picked up a run in the 3rd inning. Anthony Gose walked, stole a base, balked over, scored on a base hit by Echeverria. That's all they've been able to pick up What an at-bat we had by Anthony Gose in the 6th inning with the bases loaded. The 11 pitches, I believe it was, needed to get Anthony Gose to eventually strike out. Carlos Villanueva has been just outstanding this afternoon. This is inside. And Anthony Gose involved on the offensive side. Boy, it's been quite a day. He's been right at the heart and center of things on the defensive side as well.
The epicenter of this game.
Yes, he has been. The 2-2. Curveball got him. Getting just a piece was Cruz. Hung on to by Jeff Mathis. That's the first out in the inning. 4 strikeouts for Villanueva.
A good job here by Villanueva, and he's continuously kept these Texas hitters off balance, and you can see the weight off balance there for Cruz as he gets him out on that front foot. He's able to get it by him for the strikeout.
So apparently 86 pitches on the afternoon, all that Carlos is going to get as John Farrell comes out after the strikeout of Cruz. And Farrell points to the bullpen. He will bring on the left-hander Aaron Loup to face the left-handed hitter David Murphy. And listen to the crowd and the reaction for Villanueva.
Rightfully so. Borderline masterful in this game.
Will be offered on Friday, August 31st. Blue Jays hosting the Tampa Bay Rays. A 7:07 start. The combo includes 1 ticket in the 200 outfield seats, a Lester's hot dog, nachos, popcorn, peanuts, the obligatory apple, and soft drink. Tickets start at $39. Call 416-341-1234. Do it online at BlueJays.com. Aaron Loup works his first pitch and misses outside on the lefty David Murphy. So as Loup comes on, the Rangers have Murphy and Mitch Moreland due up at the plate, and so a couple of left-handed bats for Loup to go after. Ground ball hit to the right side. Kelly Johnson will get an out at second base. That's all they'll get. Good hard slide into Unell by Adrian Beltre. That's the second out of the inning.
Escobar, a little tap on the back from Beltre, but a guy who we've seen throughout the course of the year, that's a good hard slide, and Escobar doesn't take a liking to that. I mean, nor does any shortstop, but he seems to be a lot more indifferent to it than most.
Tell you what else I've seen with Unell this year. Even when plays have not been close on double play possibilities, he's had a tough time with that particular throw back to first base. Other throws, he's been terrific. So 2 down now. It's David Murphy at first base and that other left-handed bat we talked about, Mitch Moreland at the plate. Infield moves around to the right side. That means Escobar playing swung toward the bag at second and deep, and kind of in that shortstop position, Echeverria. As Loup brings a strike, and Aaron Loup You can't say enough about what this youngster, this guy that nobody had any idea who he was back in spring training, what he's done now since joining the team.
His aggressiveness, his willingness to go right after hitters, that's what's made him successful.
Little tapper foul. So Loup gets in front 0-2. Loup is just 24 years of age and now in his 15th game. .260 the ERA. He's allowed 5 earnings and 17 in the 3rd innings. Just been terrific. Instead of the 0-2, he goes to first with a runner going. The throw down to second by Cooper that he lobs to the bag, and we've seen him do it before, but they still get the out. So 1-3-6 on that caught stealing of David Murphy. So that does it for the Rangers in the 7th. Second caught stealing on the afternoon for Texas. Coming up for the Blue Jays, it'll be Adeiny Hechavarria, Rajai Davis, and Colby Rasmus.
Myself and Dirk Hayhurst on Baseball Central at noon weekdays, Sportsnet 590 The Fan. I'm right here on Rogers Sportsnet. Dirk back from vacation Monday. Lots to break down over the course of the weekend. Looking forward to it.
Self-promoter.
Nice. Don King. Just call me Don King. Hair's kind of the same.
You do have that hair working, I have to say. First pitch of the inning, misses up and in.
Slept standing up last night.
Glad to hear you slept.
A little nervous making my Ashby debut.
Yeah, that'll scare a lot. 2 balls, no strikes. Hechavarria leading off here in the 7th inning. 2-1 Rangers on top. It has been very well pitched. Ball hit in the gap in right center field. Long run for Gentry and can't get there. 1 hop up and over. So a leadoff double for Hechavarria as he's into second base, his second hit on the afternoon. And the young, for the moment, third baseman swinging it very well.
Boy, that Gentry can really pick him up and put him down. When this ball was hit, I'm thinking triple all the way for Hechavarria, and Gentry gets on his horse, ranges towards that right center field gap, and he's in position to make this catch. I mean, it is about an inch outside the outstretched glove before it hops over the wall. Bit of a bad break there for Hechavarria. Surely he would have ended up at third base. In any case, it's his second double of the season, and the Blue Jays are in business.
Yeah, there's that tying run out there for Rajai Davis. See how he plays it. He turns to bunt again and takes a strike. Rajai, like Hechavarria in the 5th inning after a leadoff single by Anthony Gose, turned to bunt. Rajai popped it up and handled by Beltre at third base. Beltre drawn well in on the third base side, but he also has to be able to get back to the bag with Echeverria should he be on the move. Tanner Scheppers, new right-hander on for the Texas Rangers, misses low, a ball and a strike.
Picked up his first win in salvaging one game in that Yankees series. 5.16 ERA.
He's 25 years of age and now working in his 26th game for the Rangers. ERA up over the 5 mark at 5.16. There's that spin move legally done this time as Scheppers steps on that second base side of the rubber. Saw Roy Oswalt called for a balk on that, and another balk as he didn't come set in his 4 2/3 innings. The 1-1 again. Davis turns to bunt, takes just inside. It's 2-1, and this would appear to be coming from the bench.
As intently as Davis is looking down at Brian Butterfield at third base.
Rangers bullpen is quiet, so that means the left-hand hitting Colby Rasmus waiting on deck will get to face the right-hander. Rajai bunts on a pitch left in again, and this one gets a bite out of that right hand.
Spins away. The Blue Jays have seen enough of that. 13 players on the disabled list for the Toronto Blue Jays, and no doubt they've got a little hand.
So now the count at 2-2. Watch Rajai get that hand in there. Did that ball actually hit his hand, or was Rajai anticipating it hitting his hand?
Kind of like Tony Fernandez used to do. You hear him yell and scream, and the ball wouldn't be that close to him or any part.
Well, he waited at least till the ball got there.
He sold it pretty well. Is that what you're saying?
It sounds like it, yeah. 2-2. Hit on the ground. That'll find the hole on the left side. Base hit for Davis. Echeverria has to stop at third base, so still nobody out. 2 hits, runners at the corners as it brings up Colby Rasmus, and the Blue Jays in a great spot now here in the 7th inning.
So you wanted to foul that off with the opportunity to get the base hit. He was able to draw it through.
Want to help out a great cause while enjoying some great food? Stop by A&W on August 23rd when $1 from every teen burger sold goes to help end MS.
Mike Maddox, rather, with that right hand on the shoulder. That is his routine at the mound. Played with some pitchers who would have taken one of their hands and knocked that arm, that hand right off their shoulder.
Yeah.
I can tell you one who would have done it is the president of the Texas Rangers himself.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan. He wasn't standing for anything. He's not a guy I'd want to go out and visit very often.
He told me to get out unless I had something really good to say on occasions. Well, there's that bluff move on the mound. Good speed, obviously. Rajai Davis at first base. Echeverria at third. Rajai Davis just 1 stolen base back of the leadership now in the American League. And there's that bluff move again. You know, you talked about moves being about deception. This is pure deception. The pitcher doesn't have to throw. All he has to do is make a bluff move on the mound and leave a guy like Rajai Davis spinning wheels.
And that's why it's going to be eliminated from the game starting next year.
And it should be in my book. For a long time I've been pushing for that. I hate the spin move towards second base without an infielder there. And here we go, a 3rd straight time.
But I'll tell you what, if you go back in time, it can be successful if you work on it. And I think of Pat Henkin with the Toronto Blue Jays, how many guys he got at first base just by doing that and selling it. Most guys do it just to see if the runner's going to move, but they don't sell it properly. And here's a look at the master of that old move.
See if the 4th time's a charm for Colby. 4th one does come to the plate and misses. Take a look at the arms in the outfield. Josh Hamilton in left field throws pretty well. And in center, a lot of speed there. The arm is average, a little above average for the right fielder David Murphy. Runners at first and third, 1-0 the count, and there's your spin move again. I'll tell you what bothers me, Sam.
All right.
Is that with this play and the one at second base,
yeah,
a pitcher doesn't have to throw. Doesn't have to be a defensive player at the bag. He can just go through the bluff.
All right. So you're saying there should be some risk.
If you would force them to have to throw to one or the other of the bags, having an infielder at the bag, then I have no problem. Going on the pitch, Davis, he'll steal it without a throw, so runners now at second and third, nobody out, and a 2-0 count on Rasmus.
So all of those occasions to try and thwart the stolen base, and it happens anyway.
And Rajay Davis, in picking up another stolen base, that's his 38th on the year. Starting the day, Mike Trout had 38 to lead the league. Here's the 2-0, and again low. So a pitch away from loading him up is Tanner Scheppers.
And if nothing else, it's disrupted the timing of Scheppers. Step off, look around, 4 different occasions. Can't find the strike zone. Rasmus in a good spot here.
Left-hander Michael Kirkman now loosening in that pen in right field. Colby takes a strike, so 3-1 the count. And there's the left-hander Kirkman for Texas. Surprising that maybe he wasn't ready a little earlier in the inning as Colby Rasmus was coming up. Colby Rasmus and David Cooper, of course, in the middle is that right-handed bat of Encarnacion. Colby pops it up left side, foul territory. Beltre to the seats and will make the catch. Almost reaching as high as he could to outreach any fan that might try to take this baseball. And that's a costly first out.
Beltre does a good job getting over there in a hurry and then positioning himself in order to make that catch.
Edwin Encarnacion stands in, and last night we've talked about it, but number 31, and it was a bomb.
He just looks so comfortable up there this year. There's loose, easy moving parts.
I've talked many times about what I see with Edwin. He's just quiet when he lands. So when he takes a close pitch, a breaking ball, whatever it may be, he takes it quietly. There's no jump with that front side. And yet, in doing so, he's ready to unload when he does see the baseball and like it. When you think about Jose Bautista, excuse me, Sam, much of this year, that front side flying open, just exploding wide open. They're going to walk Edwin intentionally, and you can't blame them. And they'll load the bases in the process to bring up David Cooper, and they've got the left-hander throwing in the pen. But maybe what Ron Washington doesn't know is that David Cooper's been swinging it awfully well against the lefties.
He has indeed, and then you've got Escobar after that, and another lefty in Johnson.
Third wide one, it's 3-0. Ron Washington doing what managers do, giving their team the best chance to win. So there's the walk to Encarnacion. Second time he's reached on the afternoon, the other time hit by a pitch in the 4th inning.
And you can see Mike Maddox go out there to Luis Martinez, have a chat with the pitcher. We want to make sure we've got the lefty ready here while we decide what we want to do with Cooper.
Presented by Boston Pizza. Well, let's jump that shark. Here we go. Hey, fans, keep watching with the bases loaded. We're a grand slam away from award-winning 80-inch Sharp Quatron Aquos LCD TV. To enter, visit Hit a Home Run with Sharp.ca. Sharp, big is too small a word for it.
And just as we predicted, the conversation with Martinez leads into the eventual removing of Scheppers from the game. They'll go to the lefty.
of age. 0-2 on the season, 4.56 the ERA. Right-handed batters have had a real tough time, but you can see the lefties have as well. David Cooper is the guy he'll be facing, one of those left-handed bats. Good whip for the young left-hander. 2-1 Rangers on top here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Blue Jays leading in hits 7-4. And now Martinez, the catcher, goes out to the mound to talk with his left-hander. David Cooper has one hit here in the series. It came against the left-hander in the 6th inning, lining one solidly to left field. In fact, Cooper's hit 2 line drives, the other coming in the 4th inning as he lined out right to the third baseman Beltre. Bases loaded. Second time the Blue Jays have had the bases loaded. The others coming just back in the 6th inning. Anthony Gose had a great at bat, eventually struck out as he ended the frame. 1 out now for Cooper. And the first pitch is in for a strike. There are your base runners. Echeverria, Davis, and Encarnacion. Kirkman with the 0-1. There's the big swing, but coming up empty.
Tying run at third base in the form of Echeverria, and look at Josh Hamilton as you pull out. You get to see just how shallow he is. So Cooper has exhibited some power the other way in the past, but situation there where if that ball is hit to Hamilton, you know he's going to be trying to throw Echeverria out.
If Cooper were to find a gap here, it might be to straightaway center field as the Rangers push toward left center. 1-2. That's tough to lay off that slider.
Look at that gap there. I mean, that 400 is right between the right fielder and the center field.
Of course, the other place to find a big gap is down the right field line. Cooper tends to hit a lot of balls on a line toward left field. Kirkman set. And Coop gets a piece.
Classic play him away, pitch him away.
Yeah, that might have been a pitch to hit right there for David Cooper. So we do it again at 1-2. Big moments for Blue Jays hitters, both left-handers against left-handers. And Cooper lays off that slider down and away.
You mentioned it, tough to lay off that pitch, but Cooper was all over it, didn't even flinch.
Cooper starts the day hitting .281 against lefties. He's pushed that upward. And now hits it in the air, shallow to left field. Is it deep enough? Under is Hamilton, tagging and being held at third base. Echeverria, just not deep enough.
Yeah, and that defensive positioning by the Rangers was absolutely perfect. We touched on the fact that Hamilton was drawn into a shallow position. It played right into his hands, and with the kind of arm he has, Echeverria, no chance other than to bluff and try and create an error.
Fastball was up a bit. A pretty good pitch to hit in the air, which is exactly what Cooper does, but gets under too much.
Yeah, and Hamilton, always a threat out there.
So it's in the hands of Escobar now with 2 outs. Base is still loaded. Escobar 1 for 3 on his day. Had a base hit in the 6th inning. And he takes a strike. Well placed down and in.
Some words now for home plate umpire Jeff Nelson. Escobar didn't like that call.
Kirkman continues from the stretch. Pitch is hit in the air to right center field. Should be easy for Gentry as he drifts in that direction. Battles the sun and makes the catch. And the Blue Jays let another big opportunity get away. 2 straight innings with the bases loaded. This time with 1 out, and the Blue Jays fail to score. Escobar had the big swing, but he knew it right away. Not enough. 2-1 Texas.
with a sense that Craig Gentry might be running here. Carlos Villanueva checks the sign from Jeff Mathis. And Jeff Mathis able to call the pitch out. Gentry on the run, perfectly executed from Villanueva, who didn't let up at all on the pitch out. Good throw to the inside part of the bag, and Gentry's gunned down.
Got a discussion going on the field. Yunel Escobar has apparently been ejected by the home plate umpire. That's Jeff Nelson behind the plate. John Farrell getting in his say, but Escobar, we saw Sam have some words after the first strike was called. Escobar maybe continued that discussion, if you will, after he hit the fly ball to right center.
Yeah, and I think now Jeff Nelson is pointing to the rest of the umpires as to what was said. And oddly enough, you go back to a game between the Dodgers and the Pirates a couple of days ago, this was the umpire crew that ejected Don Mattingly, Joe Blanton, and Matt Kemp from a game that the Pirates ended up winning 10-6. That game, both Mattingly and Kemp were ejected in the second inning for arguing balls and strikes. And here it is, that same umpiring crew back at it again. And now John Farrell getting into that heated conversation. Tim Cheetah, now the crew chief, steps in, and it looks as if everyone's been separated here.
And the way John Farrell's pointing as if out towards shortstop or second base tells me that maybe Escobar didn't finish the conversation to get thrown out until he took the field defensively.
Yeah, and it's on his way back out to the field.
Here's Yunel getting back out defensively.
But why are you inciting?
Yeah.
Why are you inciting? If you're the umpire in this situation, the play is gone. Of course, they're looking at one another. At that point, you don't see Escobar saying anything other than staring back. And then the home plate umpire there, and in this case, Jeff Nelson, pointing out to Escobar and giving him the heave-ho.
And I can imagine John Farrell saying, well, what are you doing even looking out there in the first place? And which is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just leave the guy alone. If he wants to get off some frustration, let it happen. He didn't do it and embarrass you at home plate. So Echeverria will move over to shortstop as Mike McCoy is now at third defensively. So a lot going on. 2-1 Texas on top as we go to the 8th inning. And for the Texas Rangers, 7-hitter Mitch Moreland leads it off. Aaron Loup still on the mound. Well, I have to agree with what I believe John Farrell argued rather strongly there, that an umpire should not be watching a player after he leaves home plate. Umpires don't want to get embarrassed at home plate and have a guy jumping down him and having the fans see it. But when you're out at shortstop, nobody knows what Escobar or anybody else is saying.
And it really wasn't even that bad. On the first pitch, Escobar smiled, saying, hey, there's no way that's a ball. And then, of course, he said some words which you could clearly see. And then showing his frustration after he hit that ball in the air, which you would expect to happen in that situation.
Pitch hit on the ground and through the left side. Bit of a shift on as this ball was hit right through straight up shortstop. Leadoff single for the Texas Rangers here in the 8th inning by Mitch Moreland.
All that room, and even with third baseman pulled over, Mike McCoy, Echeverria just behind second base, but still able to find that hole is Moreland, and that will signal the end of the afternoon for Aaron Loup.
John Farrell rather, points to the bullpen. He'll bring on the youngster Jenkins, who jogs in from left field. He'll come on with a runner at first base, and the Blue Jays trailing at 2-1 here in the 8th inning. comes on, working his 5th game now as a member of the Blue Jays, and the numbers are quite good to this point.
They sure are, and he was as surprised as anyone when he got the call. Sal Fasano, the manager at AA New Hampshire, called him in and said, hey, you're not going to be here. And at that point, because things had not gone well for Jenkins, he figured he was going back to the Florida State League to play for Dunedin. Instead, he gets the call to the big leagues and has done a nice job for John Farrell since arriving on the scene.
Yet to allow a run in the major leagues, allowing just 2 hits in 5 2/3 innings. He'd like to continue that kind of pitching now as he works with nobody out. Mitch Moreland with that leadoff single at first base. 8-hitter Craig Gentry at the plate, a guy who may be called upon to bunt.
Mike McCoy thinking the same thing in a couple steps at third.
So McCoy continues to creep in, turning to bunt, taking high is Gentry.
A lot like the LA Angels, the Texas Rangers not afraid to use the sacrifice. Kind of an old school approach by Ron Washington. And Yonis Martin comes out into the on-deck circle.
Pitch is bunted in the air and gloved by Jenkins, and then throws it away down the right field side. Had the double play presented, instead can't make the accurate throw, and now safely into second is Moreland. Now there's your opportunity presented, and opportunity just simply not taken advantage of by the Blue Jays.
When you look at Jenkins, he tried to rush the play and throw on the run like an infielder, but I do believe he had some time to get Moreland. Here the ball's popped up. You'll see Jenkins come off the mound and still on the run, just trying to throw it off balance. And as he does so, that ball is thrown down the line, and he had a lot more time than he figured. Look at how far Moreland's off the bag. Stop, plant, and make the throw, and you got yourself a double play.
See that baseball immediately come out errantly out of the hand. So again, double play was presented, double play not picked up, and now Moreland in scoring position at second base. That pinch hitter, Leonis Martin, left-hand hitter. Jenkins to the plate, misses away.
Represented Cuba at the 2009 World Baseball Classic, and from 05 to 09 was actually signed by Texas but couldn't get into the United States. He finally defected to Mexico, and now the opportunity to rush through the minor leagues to play here in the big leagues with Texas.
He's just 24 years of age and only in his 16th game. So you can see other ball clubs like the Rangers, and we saw with the Chicago White Sox, you'll still get some of the youngsters coming through needing to fill roles.
Jerickson Profar, another top prospect in that Rangers organization that they hope to see and most likely will in September when the rosters expand.
Slider from Jenkins has been a pretty effective pitch for him right there, missing down and in.
Here's a situation for a youngster where you have to try and slow the game down once again. You get those happy feet, you think you've got the double play, it doesn't work out that way. Runner on second base in scoring position, you need to slow things back down and focus on the task at hand.
Good sinking action on that fastball. Martin has shown pop in the bat in his limited at-bats for the Rangers, just 37 official at-bats. But in that span, 4 doubles and 2 triples. Jenkins a check of the runner at second. That gets him. And again, that great running action, that fastball at 92, but a lot of movement.
There's Jenkins trying to work himself out of the jam he created for himself, and there's that run you talk about, sinking down and away from that left-handed hitter, and that is an impossible pitch for any lefty to get his bat on. A good job by Jenkins to get the strikeout.
I wonder where that kind of movement was while he was in the minor leagues this year, struggling with some of the numbers.
I think confidence has everything to do with it.
So 2 outs. Runner at second base. Leadoff man Ian Kinsler at the plate. 0 for 3 on his day with a strikeout. Kinsler's just been taking pitches, strikes on top of that early in counts all day long.
Yeah, it's a little odd for a guy who's had a lot of success at the plate over the years.
He likes to build that on-base percentage at times. He's at .335, and that's a fair amount above the league average. And now the pitch gets by Mathis. Just kind of beats him up on that inside. He acted like the ball had hit something else before getting to him. I don't believe it did. Should be a pass ball on Jeff. Moving into third base is Moreland.
Let's get another look at this here, and just wonder if maybe he was crossed up. And just based on that late movement of his left hand, and then ends up taking it off the shoulder, does Mathis.
We talk about Jeff being a really good catcher, but here in the past week he's had moments where balls have gotten by, not great blocking technique utilized, and even some pass balls on top of it. A little looper back of second. Kelly Johnson with a great running play. Maybe anticipating the reactions were terrific for Kelly, and that saves the Blue Jays a run. For Texas, no runs and 1 hit as they leave one. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell in the Blackberry broadcast studio. The baseball Blue Jays Honda Super Camps. It'll be in Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's August 23rd through the 25th at Shaw Park. Instructors this year include Jesse Barfield, Lloyd Mosby, Homer Bush, and Dwayne Ward. That's quite a cast. Visit BlueJays.com/baseball academy. The Toronto Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. To the bottom of the 8th inning we go. New pitcher on, right-hander Mike Adams for the Texas Rangers. He'll face the 6, 7, 8 spots. Kelly Johnson leads it off, followed by Jeff Mathis and Anthony Gose.
Adams has had quite a run of success over the last couple of years working out of the pen. Very familiar with pitching coach Mike Maddox, and the key reason why he was brought to Texas.
He's 31, make that 33 years of age now. Finds the outside corner with his first offering. Kelly Johnson on the afternoon, 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. He's drawn a walk. Adams with 34 strikeouts in 39 pitches. Pitch is grounded to first base. A big hop there conveniently for Moreland. He'll go to the bag, and the first out here in the inning.
Adams with a 3-year run from 2009 to 2011. Of all relievers that have pitched at least 120 innings over that time, the lowest ERA and the lowest WHIP. So no stranger to a ton of success.
Came up with the Brewers originally in the National League, that 2004. Pitched with the San Diego Padres starting in 2008. And now in his second season with the Texas Rangers.
Nice deadline acquisition last year.
Mathis stands in, takes down and in.
I had a conversation with Adams yesterday about what makes Mike Maddox such a successful pitching coach. And he says, well, he has the ability to do different things with different guys. Some guys it's mechanics, but with me personally, it's about giving me the confidence. And when things start to go sideways, the ability to come out there and calm me down.
Pitch is popped up on the left side. The shortstop Young calling. Almost in position where Michael Young makes the catch. Second out here in the 8th inning.
And that's where Adams feels he's at his best, when he's out there and when he's confident. And anytime he wavers from that, Maddox goes out there and says, hey, get back to the game plan, get back to your routine. You're great at what you do. Just continue to forge forward. And this year, Adams telling me that, hey, I've had more base runners than I'm used to in the past, but I've been able to grind it out better than I have in the past. And that's why he continues to have success.
Got a lifetime ERA of just 2.18, so he's been, as you say, very effective. Facing Anthony Gose. Gose has reached twice. He bunts, tries to drag it with him, but Adams right on it to make the play as Gose is retired. A 1-2-3 8th inning turned in by Mike Adams. So we go to the 9th. Blue Jays down a run. And that's all on Sportsnet channels. The action begins Tuesday at 2:30 Eastern, World, 1, East, Ontario West, and Pacific. Complete UEFA Champions League coverage on your favorite Sportsnet channel. We go to the 9th inning. And the Blue Jays down a run to the Texas Rangers. Chad Jenkins still on. He'll work it to the right hand, hitting Michael Young. Warming in the bullpen for the Blue Jays, left-hander Darren Oliver with the left-handed hitter Josh Hamilton waiting on deck. So likely one batter for Jenkins to face here in this 9th inning. 2 runs, 5 hits for Texas, a run on 7 hits and an error for the Blue Jays. Big 2-run home run by Nelson Cruz, providing the 2 runs for the Rangers right on the heels of a Sun-caused double by Adrian Beltre. Great diving stop by McCoy. He'll get up and throw out Michael Young. And what a play as Mike McCoy comes on when Yunel Escobar is tossed from the game and just makes a gem at third base.
Good ready position. Couple of jab steps to his left, dives in the hole, and his ability to get on his feet quickly and make that throw over to Cooper, who's able to stretch it out. And a great job there by McCoy. Jenkins with a little acknowledgement as he will leave this game.
So Jenkins done with his day's work. And again, spotless for Jenkins as he continues to do a nice job. And now it's the left-hander Darren Oliver with that tough task of going after Josh Hamilton. With the Rangers as we take you to Yankee Stadium for Game 2 of the weekend series between the Red Sox and Yankees. Boston and New York next on Sportsnet East, Ontario, West, and Pacific. 41-year-old Darren Oliver set to work it now with one out in the ninth inning. Rangers on top by a run. Josh Hamilton 0 for 3 on the afternoon, now facing the left-hander. And first pitch fouls it down the left side.
Oliver very familiar with these Texas Rangers. An American League Championship ring. A couple of lefties coming up a little later too in Murphy and Morley.
Painted on the outside edge. 0-2 on Hamilton. Oliver, despite being touched up in his last outing, ERA at 1.87. Saw it jump by about a half a run with that last game. Hit in the air to left field. Rajay starts back and then comes on to catch the line drive. Second out of the inning.
And that's what he does. I mean, Oliver is Mr. Calm out there. He's been through it so many times before. Postseason games, big pressure games, situational lefty. And a guy who just at 41 years old shows no signs of letting up. The Blue Jays have him signed through next year as well.
You said just at 41. Are you anticipating maybe another 10 years?
10, maybe 5.
Okay. It's just under the knees. Adrian Beltre 2 for 3 on the day. He's doubled and singled. That double Sun aided in the 5th inning, leading off a fly ball to right center field. Ghost called initially, lost it in the sun. And then Nelson Cruz chased it home with a home run.
Beltre wasn't leaving in the tank there,
no.
Was he?
No, that was pure aired out with 2 outs and the bases empty. I didn't hear that pre-scream on that fastball inside at the legs. Had teammates that would do this. That's the same sort of thing where before it would hurt, they were already screaming.
Tony Fernandez.
That's in for a strike. 2-2 now on Beltre.
All started for Oliver in Texas. You look at Tony Fernandez, and the level of excellence is now employed by the Texas Rangers of all teams.
Pitches popped up on the right side of the infield. David Cooper staring up into that bright sky and sun, drifting, and eventually stumbles into it. So Cooper able to get it done. That's the bottom line. A 1-2-3 ninth inning as the Blue Jays utilize a couple of pitchers, including Oliver. For the Blue Jays coming up, it's Adeiny Hechavarria, Rajay Davis, and then Colby. And very effective in doing so.
Yeah, he's on a run now where he has saved 21 consecutive games. That's the longest single season streak in Texas Rangers history, and will be asked to close this one out here, but the task won't be easy.
He started with Adeiny Hechavarria, who's 2 for 2 on the day. Single and a double, driving in his first major league run. He's also laid down a sacrifice, but that was the first hit, the single that drove in the run, and then that double to right center field coming in the 7th inning, just out of the reach of Gentry. So Nathan, going to be tough to get to. He's back healthy and pitching very well again. Hechavarria starts the bat. Defensively, Elvis Andrus comes on to play at shortstop. Nathan just rocks into the windup as the pitch is fouled back.
Ron Washington wanting to give Andrus a day off. And almost was a complete day off until the defensive replacement, and the rally caps are on in the stands.
Blue Jays trying to win a second straight over the Texas Rangers. Jays are 3-5 on the current homestand. So 1-2 now on Hechavarria.
No tricks here from Nathan. He's coming right at Hechavarria.
Nathan's always had the good fastball, a terrific slider to go with it.
Great run of success with all those good Minnesota Twins teams. This is an interesting getup. I don't know if you'd call that a rally cap or what.
2-2 the count. I guess if you designate it to be a rally cap, that's what it is. So Hechavarria down on strikes as Joe Nathan gets things going here in the 9th inning. First out.
And no tricks or secrets. Nathan coming in and throwing gas right at Hechavarria, and the youngster swings right through it. And Tommy John surgery can do wonders for you. The way it's been perfected, you know, you go back to when it was originally performed on Tommy John, and there was ever a wonder of whether you'd be able to come back. If you were able to come back, would you be as good as you were previous to the surgery? And now that is completely changed.
And now they ask, how much better can I be?
How much better? How much harder can I throw? How much stronger is the ligament?
Well, the Blue Jays hope that's the case with a couple of their young pitchers that went down earlier in the year. Rajai Davis stands in 1 for 4 in the afternoon. He's picked up a stolen base and lines it foul down the right side. That stolen base in the 7th inning following his single. And at least based on the numbers at the start of play today, he is tied for leadership in stolen bases in the American League.
Except for Mike Trout, who's played a month less than Rajai Davis.
Well,
is he a special talent or what?
Can he, in playing that much less on the season, be a legitimate MVP candidate? Rajai goes through on that half swing. So a ball and 2 strikes, 96 on the heat from Nathan.
Yeah, I believe you can.
I think so too.
But always struggling a little bit. I mean, I think they're going to have to win in order for that to happen. At least get into the postseason. Every time you turn around, the Texas Rangers just continue to lead that American League West.
Slider way outside. Yeah, Mike Trout has struggled all the way down now to 339 at the start of play today. And you're right. I mean, that number is well below where he was. But what a season he's put up after struggling when he came up last year.
And doing it defensively. He's taken away at least 3 home runs this year, going up and over the fence.
Just outside. Rajai stays alive. It's filled. Colby Rasmus waits on deck. If the Blue Jays are going to make it 2 straight over the Rangers, they've got to come up with something here against a very tough closer. You can take 1, but you're not going to get away with 2 most of the time. Rajai Davis presents a bit of an argument, but he's down on strikes 2 straight here in the 9th inning, and it brings up Rasmus.
And you know, Alan, if you're Rajai Davis, you know you've got the speed and you can create havoc. This pitch is just too close to take, and although it might have been a little bit away, I think in that situation, too close to take, and the overhead camera shows you maybe it's just off the plate, but to have that kind of discernible eye and then to hope that the umpire will agree with you is asking a little much here.
And I think umpires behind the plate in particular, if there are 2 pitches in one at bat very close and one goes one way, the other one is likely to swing in the other direction. Rasmus will back away. Colby with his 20 home runs, and in this kind of an at bat, yes, he'd love to get on base for Edwin, who follows, but he'd also like to be able to flex and tie this ball game with 1 swing.
Well, he's got the pop in his bat to do it, although he has struggled of late.
Well, that's well spotted.
There's the guy you'd like to see get to the plate if you're a Blue Jays fan. 31 home runs for Edwin Encarnacion.
Well, I wouldn't mind getting him to the plate in a tie ball game either. Neither would Colby, but that curveball is a bit confusing.
Just enough to give you a different look. For the most part, Nathan has come in throwing fastballs, the occasional curveballs you saw there, a slider in the at bat to Davis, but mostly gasoline.
Comes back with the hook. 2-2 the count. If you're Colby Rasmus, can you pick out a fastball on a 2-2 and try to drive it? Or do you get the slider or curveball? It's awfully tough. If you try to pick out one and don't get it, you're in no man's land.
You got to take that defensive approach here, and now, as opposed to think of tying the game, think about just getting on base.
Breaking ball hit on the ground and sharply, but gloved at second by Kinsler. He'll spin and throw to get his man, and a 1-2-3 9th inning turned in by Joe Nathan as the Texas Rangers come in this afternoon and win over the Blue Jays 2-1. 7 hits for the Blue Jays, just 5 for the Rangers, but that one big swing for Texas.
Yeah, and that one drop fly ball. I mean, the baseball gods had a say in this one, no doubt, today, but the same problems continue to recur for the Toronto Blue Jays. You get a good starting performance from Villanueva, but you can't score enough runs to make it work.
So Roy Oswald started, doesn't get the win. That's to Ross. Villanueva takes the loss. Now stay tuned for Baseball Central.